This is Locked On Bets, the daily betting show that means business from the Locked On Podcast Network. Hosted by Lee Sterling and Kevin Rogers, they're dropping fearless picks with an inside edge to put money in your pocket. If there's action, they've got the lock. This is where smart bets start. It's Locked On Bets.
Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Locked On Bets. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling with you from Paramount Sports. And we always appreciate you making Locked On Bets your first listen of the day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. So much to talk about today, Lee, because we have NBA, we have college basketball, and college football. It continues. The cycle continues with football here on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, which is always a good thing. We'll look back at last night's Monday night debacle for Dallas as the Cowboys lose in front of a national audience. So I guess ESPN's got nothing to talk about today. But we will talk about the NBA first and a late night game in L.A. It's the Thunder and the Clippers.
Oh, boy. Last one out. Turn off the lights. This one's a blowout.
The Clippers lost to the Heat last night, so what's your prize? You get the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder coming to Crypto.com Arena at 7-0 so far in the season. They have not skipped a beat, even though a couple close double overtime games out of the gate, but OKC playing well. Clippers at 3-3. Lee, what do you like here with OKC and the Clippers?
Well, the Clippers are 3-3. Wins over New Orleans, Portland, Phoenix. Why are we not impressed? Losses to Utah by 21, Golden State by 19, and a Miami team still without Tyler Hero on the road. They usually play poorly on the road. Last night, 120 to 119. They haven't played, in my opinion, Golden State, some people put it as a top 10 team. I don't. Even close to a top 10 team this year. But you look at their starting lineup and you're like, oh, okay, got some nice names. Bradley Beal, he was not even in the rotation last year in Phoenix. 32, looks like he's 42. Kawhi Leonard, 34. Probably, last year he sat out back-to-backs. I'm expecting him to possibly sit out this one. James Harden played well last night, 36. The chances of him playing well back-to-back nights, not very good. I bet Zubac, 28. They list him at 28. He's been in the league, I think, 9 or 10 years. So probably 35 years old. Derek Jones Jr. started off with the Heat, 28. Not much of a player. He's just kind of a role player. And then the bench, Brook Lopez, 37. Nick Batum, 36. Chris Paul, 40. You expect these guys to come back after losing a game like that and to play well against defending champs who were 7-0. Yeah, the first couple games, they were kind of going through the motions, had to win in overtime, but they're off an absolute ass whooping of the New Orleans Pelicans on Sunday afternoon. It was a 3:30 start, so it's not like they played at night and had to fly in late and then recover. Yesterday, got in, probably a decent time, had a nice dinner, sat around, watched the game last night. Now they know what they need to do here. I think Oklahoma City's going to perfect 8-0, and it's going to be easy. Lay the 7 points now. I think it's only going to go up. This might be double digits if Leonard doesn't play and maybe one other player is ruled out late. So those are some of the things you got to factor in when playing games in the NBA. Blowout special. Oklahoma City Thunder, big time by double digits over the L.A. Clippers tonight in NBA action.
It's funny when you look back at Chris Paul's numbers through 6 games. He's averaging 2.7 points per game and playing nearly 14 minutes. Just give it up already. I get it. You had a great career of being in the Hall of Fame, but give it up.
What's that league? What's that league where they play 3-on-3? What's that
the
called?
Ice Cube League. I know exactly what you're talking about. The 3-on-3.
He'd be pretty good in that. So.
Well, do you know what it is, too, with that league is that the Big Three. That's right, the Big Three. I was thinking about something else. So the Big Three, you have all these other old names. Well, I shouldn't say old names. Of guys that played in the 2000s. Like, oh, that guy. Yeah. I remember him from the NBA. He's like playing in this league now. Oh, this guy. And now, Chris Paul definitely is due to be running some point and half-court games across the country.
Well, maybe they can get like Chauncey Billups and who's the guy?
He can't. No, Chauncey Billups has got other stuff going on.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Saying, at least they'd have names. People come out to see, oh, Chauncey Billups is fighting his court case, maybe stay out of jail. Let's see if he can still hoop at 54, or the other guy, forget that Jones. The kid Jones.
Yeah, Chauncey Billups will have his ankle brace on when he's playing out there to get his little bit of time. Then he's got to go back after this whole alleged poker fixing situation. Okay, let's look back at last night, Lee, and we went 2-2. We won our 2 NBA games. The Knicks pulled away from the Wizards and won with the Jazz outright. That's now 2 double-digit dogs that I had that won outright. It should have taken money line. If it would have money line the Panthers and the Jazz, I've been in good shape.
I mentioned it, Kevin. I said sprinkle a little on the money line. This way, you can go to the Bahamas or own one of the islands in the Bahamas, and I got to do a couple shows at least for a couple weeks by myself.
I'm not coming back. I'm done. I mean, I'm probably going to retire, and then we'll see what happens. But then I lose a couple, then I'll have to come crawling back to you. But no, those were 2 good wins, which was a good night in the NBA. Now, Cowboys were a loser against the Cardinals. Let's start with that. And Dallas just fell behind and couldn't get anything going. And we talk about their offense being so great, which it had been, but they get blown out by Denver. And they were kind of like out of that game early. And the same thing here with Arizona, that now Dallas is falling behind, where it's funny, where the Giants have had problems, Washington has problems. You would think now maybe you can try to catch up to the Eagles, but it's just not going to happen there in the NFC East.
No, and 2 things I take away from that game. Number one, what are you doing going for it 4th and goal? I think it was like 4th and goal from the 5, 6, 7 yard line, first drive. If you make it and you score 7, great. But if you don't, and we've seen that happen a couple times, teams have done that. They get all the way down and they go for it, and then they're done. It's just like the momentum, their air comes out, and they end up losing the game outright. So I thought that was a mistake. Take the 3. It's not like it's 4th and goal from the 1 or the 2, where if you don't get in, the team's backed up at the 1. They were backed, they were at the 6, 7 yard line. They take a sack at the 13, 14 yard line. And sure enough, the other team has the ball. They drive down and score. So that was a big problem, and I thought a mistake. And I don't care what it says in the book to do. To me, that's a field goal. Put points on the board. You're not trying for a 48 or 55 yarder, and it's 4th and 3. This is a 4th and goal from outside the 5. Then how do you allow a career backup quarterback, Jacoby Brissett, to look that good last night? He looked like the next coming. He and a couple other guys who have been around forever. I mean, these guys are having resurgences. So Dallas is that bad. I thought their coverage, their tackling, they had a couple sacks there, but I would have brought the heat on them. And you know who they're throwing to? 2 guys. That's it. Marvin Harrison, first 2 drives on our shorts. We had the over. He had the over after 2 drives. Like they had no clue, who they're going to throw to. But that's the Cowboys. There's a couple owners, like I said, Stephen Ross of the Dolphins, Jerry Jones. The NFL would be much better off if they sold or had someone else in the family. Like, for instance, Indianapolis turned it over to the former owner's daughter, who is now involved and looks like she's doing a pretty good job. So we need some younger blood and some new blood as owners running some of these teams, because they're running them into the ground.
The Cowboys probably should have lost to the Giants in week 2. The game Russell Wilson torched them. They blew out the Jets, who have 1 win. They beat Washington. It was a good one over Washington. Jaden Daniels played in that game. But they had the tie against Green Bay, a game they were down early. They did come back, and they get the tie in overtime. But they look who they beat. They beat 3 teams that aren't going to the playoffs. And you just lost to Arizona, who's not going to the playoffs. Carolina, who's on the fringe, who's playing well, but who knows if they'll get over the hump. I mean, your best teams you played have been Philadelphia, Green Bay, and Denver. Okay, and you lost you went 0-2-1 in those games. But you haven't beaten anybody of any substance this year.
I agree. It's a team that, you look statistically at the offense, they look good, but the defense is so bad, and the coaching staff making decisions and the ownership so poor. Unless they get a pass rusher and a couple DBs, at the trade deadline. They're going to have another losing record, which the trade deadline is today at 4:00. So we'll see if that happens. But I can't see the Cowboys making the playoffs. And like I said, I don't think they're going to get that many difference makers on the defense to trade deadline. They might get a pass rusher. They might get one cornerback, but that's not going to make a difference.
I'm looking back at Arizona, and obviously, they're better off with Kyler Murray, a quarterback. I mean, Jacoby Brissett is serviceable, but it's just so funny looking back at the Cardinals. They lost by 1 to the Niners, by 3 to the Seahawks, by 1 to Tennessee, the game they threw away, by 4 to the Colts, and by 4 to Green Bay. The game that they threw away also. They've been in every game, which is unbelievable. But listen to their schedule coming up. At Seattle this week, San Francisco at home, Jacksonville at home, at Tampa Bay, the Rams at home. Like that, it's just a brutal schedule moving ahead.
I'm not so sure, though, Kevin, that Jacoby Brissett isn't better than Kyler Murray. At least he drops back and throws it, pretty accurately, and his timing is good. I just think that Murray's days might be numbered there. I mean, he can't see over the line.
I know, yeah.
His best passes, his best plays are when he's scrambling around, and you can't base an offense like that.
College basketball last night. First night, you had BYU. They didn't cover against Villanova. They were up by double digits at the half. Villanova came back and made it interesting. They got the cover. BYU got the win. Anything? I mean, this is a loaded question, but anything stick out from college basketball? Florida lost to Arizona in a pretty good game, a high-scoring game in Vegas last night. That was the first game before the Villanova game. But I did notice this, Lee. Lot of double-digit dogs did cover. And I know there's a lot of turnover with these teams. New Orleans won at TCU as a 22-point dog. That there were a lot of big dogs that showed up last night and made these games competitive.
Oh, I mean, the biggest story, obviously Florida's a big story. They lost their top two guys in the backcourt, and it shows. They're hurting there a little bit. So it's maybe going to take time for them to develop. They didn't look like even close to the team last year. But how about Boise State gets upset by a Division II team from Hawaii? So we have Chaminade 2 maybe took place last night, and not a lot of people even noticed. There's some schools, Kevin, and I know about a lot of colleges. I've been, I played in the FCS school. I know the names, and I'm always looking at scores and studying games. There's literally 20 schools I have never heard of before that are playing in college basketball, and you can't find out anything about them. I'm up for taking dogs. Let's say these MAC teams are visiting, another good team. MAC gets some really good kids. They may not be the 4 and the 5 stars, but they get some 2 and 3 stars, and they're coached up. So I'm not adverse to taking underdogs, but if I can't find out anything about the team and I see highlights and they're playing in a gym with a wooden backboard, I'm not so sure.
Now, I just want to go over this really quick. We can go through hundreds of these games, but you talk about teams you've never really heard of. New Haven is going to Division I this year. They're transitioned to Division I. They played UConn last night. UConn was a 42-point favorite, and UConn won 79-55. So UConn didn't cover. Georgetown didn't cover against Morgan State. Providence didn't cover against Holy Cross. And Xavier didn't cover against Marist. And they were all double-digit favorites. So you can find spots. I mean, I guess let these games play out a game or two, but there's not everything in these, like, I've heard of you, haven't heard of you games is a blowout.
Yeah. I just, if I can find something on the team, and there's going to be a couple I'm going to have, I see through Sunday, but yeah, I at least got to know about the team. I got to be able to see some highlights from last year, look at some of the players they have. And a lot of times I'm also going against a team like, for instance, Miami. Know Miami well. Not one player returned. Not one player. New coaching staff. I think they're going to be good as the season progresses, or at least much better. But they're playing a team last night, and they don't cover either.
No, against Jacksonville, and we'll see if the Canes turn it around post-Larinaga era. Coming up, we have more basketball to get to. NBA Hidden Gem. We won that last night. We'll see if we can do it again tonight. Another college basketball big game we're going to talk about in Charlotte, and also some college football as well. All of that is straight ahead here on a very busy Tuesday edition of Locked On Bets. Let's talk now about FanDuel. That's right. It is football season. So FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And what can you use it on? So many things. Let's just concentrate really on the NFL now. We're up to week 10 already. Raiders Broncos coming up on Thursday, and you want to bet on that. You want to look at some player props, maybe. Bo Nix, see what he can do here against the Raiders. Brock Bowers, he exploded in their loss to Jacksonville. Maybe look at his receiving yard props as well. But also the MVP odds. Josh Allen of the Bills, he's now the favorite to win the most valuable player. Drake May of the Patriots, he's right behind him second. Patrick Mahomes of the Chiefs is third. So you want to bet on MVP odds. Now you can also Super Bowl futures. Chiefs still up there as the favorites. Bills too. Maybe we'll see them play again in January after their good game on Sunday. AFC champion, NFC champion. And besides the football, at least the NFL, you have college football, college basketball underway with so many games every day, the NBA, the NHL, so much going on. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. We continue here, Locked On Bets on a Tuesday. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. So let's get to tonight's NBA Hidden Gem.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
So we won last night with the Utah Jazz as they knocked off the Boston Celtics as double-digit dogs. So we'll see if we could do it again tonight. But it's a little bit flipped this evening, Lee, because we're going with the favorite as a hidden gem, and that being the winless New Orleans Pelicans as they play host to the Charlotte Hornets, and the Pelicans a 2.5-point favorite here. I like the Pelicans, and here's why. They have played a brutal schedule out of the gate. New Orleans is back home after 3 road games against Denver, the Clippers, and Oklahoma City. That is hard. And then before that, they played Boston, who was off a 3-game losing streak. And before that, they took San Antonio to overtime, who has just 1 loss in the season. And they were up on Memphis in the first half before losing that game. Memphis came back and won that game. So New Orleans has they've shown some signs, and also they've played really good teams. No disrespect to the Charlotte Hornets, but the Hornets are not in the Oklahoma City-Denver class. And the Hornets off of a blowout win over the Jazz a few nights ago. That was in the second end of a back-to-back. They were up at the half against Minnesota on Saturday, lost, and then came back, and they blew out the Jazz on Sunday. And the Hornets have been a dog every game except for the first one against Brooklyn, and Brooklyn hasn't won a game yet, and they beat Brooklyn. Who hasn't? But I just think here with Charlotte going on the road, they have not won yet as far as a dog. One time they won against Washington. Washington stinks. But besides that, they lost to Philadelphia, Miami as a road dog. I know New Orleans hasn't won a game yet, but I think this is their night. I don't want to call it do factor, Lee, but they're going to get this one. So we're going to take New Orleans Pelicans, NBA Hidden Gem tonight in the Big Easy.
I like it a lot. So I think New Orleans is actually improved over last year. Just like I said, that schedule absolutely brutal, especially on the road. So they got Boston. That one night, Boston was on fire. Couldn't miss a shot. Unless Charlotte is hitting close to 50% or higher on 3-pointers. I like the Pelicans here. And what's interesting, a lot of people don't realize this. The Pelicans are not going to tank this year. The Pelicans gave away their number 1 pick to Atlanta. Atlanta could end up with a number 1 overall pick. So something interesting to think about when you're handicapping. The Pelicans will not be tanking this year because they don't have a number 1 pick.
And also,
at least not one early. And it's not protected either.
And also in that Boston game, Zion didn't play either. So
right.
That didn't help. So we'll see what the Pelicans do against the Hornets. All eyes will be on that game tonight. Maybe just my eyes. All right. We will now shift to college basketball. And you're getting these good matchups, which college basketball does a good job of getting some big names. We had Florida, Arizona last night, neutral site game. Tonight, technically neutral site, Duke is in Charlotte. But Duke and Texas. Time now for our blowout special in college basketball.
Oh, boy. Last one out, turn off the lights. This one's a blowout. Sean
Miller, his debut as the coach of Texas, was at Arizona. Things didn't work out in the end. Went to Xavier for a second time, built them up, and then left to go to Texas. And the Longhorns now trying to get back on track. We'll see what John Shire and the Blue Devils have with the Boozer twins. And what do you like here with Duke and Texas in nearby Charlotte, Lee?
Yep. If you're a Texas fan, not the good news, the great news is Rodney Terry is done. Used to be at UTEP. He was the assistant, got elevated when the head coach got fired. They made a little bit of a run, I think, to the Elite Eight a couple years ago to Miami and lost, and that's what ended up getting him the job. He's awful. So thank you know what he's done. I like to hire Sean Miller. They've got money there, NIL money, to get the right guys. Slew of transfers, but I checked out all the transfers. None of these guys score above 10 points. There are a lot of good role players. I think he's a year away from maybe getting some superstars and some really good players from some other teams as transfers. On the other hand, Duke head coach John Shire added Cameron Boozer, who's a potential top 3 to 5 pick in the draft next year. He can score, rebound. He does it all. I saw him here in Miami, and he's that good. Also a 5-star recruit, Nicholas Kamenia, really good, and Dame Sarr, solid core, Isaiah Evans, Caleb Foster, and Malik Brown coming back. They just have a versatile roster. They can cover even their bigs 1 through 5, and they're not deep. They're probably 8, 9 guys. They don't have that deep a bench right now, but also the Texas top 2 big men, looks like one will play. The other may or may not dress. They're not 100% here. So I'm going to go with another blowout special here. You know, unless Texas, I think, gets back into it late. I think Duke is to call the games in Charlotte. It'll be at like 90, 95% Duke fans. Duke, lay the 9.5 over Texas. Another blowout special.
Yeah, and we continue with college basketball. And, if you like college basketball, very exciting time of year. You know, you have the breakdown of all these non-conference, again, the conference, and obviously March Madness. But this is also a fun time, too, just kind of getting back into it. And it should be a good game tonight between Duke and Texas. Coming up, we will talk college football and a big game inside the Buckeye State. That is coming up next. You are listening to Locked On Bets. Locked On Bets continues here on a Tuesday. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. And college football back at it tonight for Week 11. And the big one inside the state of Ohio, it's the Buckeyes and the Bearcats. Oh, no, it's not. It's Maction tonight, Lee. Oh, we got bad news there. All right, it is Maction tonight, so a lot of points I'm sure will be scored, but we'll see what happens. And big blowout special. Actually, no, we're not doing blowout special. We're doing Hidden Gem. My bad. Hidden Gem in the Mac.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
A little too excited about that, Lee. I'm sorry. Ohio and Miami of Ohio. The Bobcats of Ohio and the Redhawks of Miami of Ohio. Ohio laying points here. Lee, what do you like with this one?
All right, so quarterbacks. Ohio quarterback Parker Navarro, dual threat quarterback, 11 touchdown passes this year, 504 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns, running the ball, 5.6 yards per carry. Really good quarterback. Led them to 2 nice wins this year. The most notable one was the West Virginia win on the road, 17-10. It was not a fluke. They dominated the game. They also played Ohio State close. They were as close as pretty much anyone except for Washington this year. They only lost 37-9. On the other side, Miami of Ohio quarterback DeQuan Finn, he started off, I believe, at Toledo at a MAC school, then went to Baylor, couldn't win the job. Now he moved back to Miami of Ohio. Just 7 touchdown passes, not quite as many rushing yards, 384 rushing yards. I like the complementary guys here, the skill players for Ohio on offense. You got this kid Bengara, the running back, 728 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns. And top 2 receivers, Chase Hendricks, 57 catches for 805 yards and 6 touchdowns. He's averaging over 14 yards of reception, and Rodney Harris averaging over 13 yards of reception. So I think a little bit more big play potential. When you play these MAC games, you're looking for guys that can run the ball, catch the ball, break a tackle, and go the distance. It's all about scoring. And I think Ohio has more of these players here. So games also at home, that makes a difference here. These midweek games, you got to travel and, unless it's a short bus ride, you got to stay in a hotel or you got to get on a bus, travel a few hours, and that has to take a little bit out of you. So I think the home crowd, there could be all 6,000, 7,000 fans at Bobcat Stadium, I think it's called here. I'm going to take the Ohio Bobcats. I think they win this game something like 30-23 over Miami of Ohio. It's going to be my hidden gem.
All right, a couple of hidden gems today, a couple of blowouts. So a busy show. And Lee, college football week 11 beginning tonight, NFL week 10 starting Thursday. So what's going on with Paramount Sports, all of that and all the basketball?
Yep, it's not November. It's November. Get the rest of the month for not $497. If you use coupon code SAVE200, just $297. So we're here at the 4th of November. Action every single day. You're going to get our phone service. Call once a day after 2 o'clock Eastern, weekdays after 8:30 in the morning, weekends. You're going to get probably 12 to 15 games a week where we rate the games from 10 to 50 units. So like I said, if you use the coupon code SAVE200 at the checkout, you'll see the checkout box. Just put in that coupon code SAVE200, brings the price down to $297. So basketball, college basketball, and NBA both playing, heating up. We'll have probably 4 or 5 selections tonight. You want to get the season? How about this? It's $14.97 on the website today only. For listening in, use coupon code SAVE500. It's not available on the website. You got to call the office. I'll give you the entire season through June 2026, just $997. But you got to call the office, 800-400-9741.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Locked On Bets. Also, you could find our podcast on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. Just search Locked On Bets and you'll find us there. And also keep an eye out for our YouTube shorts as well. Lee had a winner last night on Marvin Harrison Jr. over on his receiving yards. That one was locked up in the first half. So keep an eye out for that as well. For Lee Sterling, I am Kevin Rogers. We will talk to you again coming up on Wednesday for another edition of Locked On Bets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network.